I just finished my first playthrough of Altered, the newest trading card game, and I said right away, we have to show you this playthrough.
Yeah.
So we just reset it up. We're going to play the game right in front of you and teach you as we go Altered.
Yeah, we're not going to mess around with too much preamble. We are going to kind of explain what's happening, but like Emily said, this is a trading card game. It's very unique, so you're going to see some of those differences as we play, but we're going to dive right in and hopefully answer your questions along the way.
Let's go.
So, we haven't decided who's going to be first player. Heads?
Heads.
Tails? You're going to call heads?
I'm calling heads.
Okay, I've got to flip
That
this
doesn't count, David.
It's heads.
That's me.
Emily will go first.
So on our first turn, we've picked our cards, and then we're using 3 for our mana.
Yep.
So we've already done that, and now we can skip all the way to our afternoon phase, which is where we actually get to start playing cards. And I'm going to start my afternoon phase with my special ability right off the bat.
She didn't want to be first player at all.
So I'm playing Akisha and Taru, and she has a special ability that she can tap that says, after you. And when I do that, I can say, I am going to actually skip this turn. I'm going to be able to keep playing turns afterwards, so it's not a real pass, but you can
It's kind of a fake pass.
After you.
Yeah, we're going to be playing or passing. I'm playing Tija and Narura. My ability is when I play my first character each round, they're going to get a boost token. You'll see that right now. Because I'm going to play my Spindle Harvesters right here. And I'm playing it into this expedition. We've got 2 expeditions that we're going to be playing into. At the end of a round, or a day as they call it in the game, we're going to basically be comparing this expedition to this one, and that's related to our heroes. These 2 are related to our companions. This is not a game about hurting each other.
Nope.
You're just trying to get your hero reunited with their companion.
Yep.
So you're moving across these landscapes. You'll see that soon. I'm going to play that. It's going to cost 1 mana, so I will do that.
Little cheap card.
This one says, I gain anchored. So when I play it, it's going to be anchored. Because these games are often fleeting, as they actually say in the game, because they will be played, and then after this round, they'll go away. But if they're anchored, they don't go away. So that one is anchored, and because it's the first character card that I played,
yes,
I'm going to also get a boost. And you'll see that into work. That boost is going to boost all of these stats. There's a green, an orange, and a blue. I think it's basically forest, desert, water, maybe something like that. This one's naturally a 1/0/0, but now it is a 2/1/1.
Right. And so in this section, we're just trying to win one of those 3 characteristics. So David currently is winning all of them because I have nothing there.
That's because you said after you.
I did say after you. So I'm going to get to play a card. Now that I see you're going for that side, maybe I will do something.
I've got 2 more mana, though.
Okay, well, I'm spending all 3 of my mana.
I may got more cards to play. Oh, you're spending all 3?
Right away, let's go. And I'm going to play Baba Yaga. She allows me, when played from my hand, which is where I played her, to draw a card, which is great because I need more cards. She's a 3/2/2. Similarly, on this side with the heroes, right now we're both just trying to go for anything, so I'm winning and everything on this side right now. But
yeah, all of that will make sense more when we get to the dusk phase. Back to me.
Back to you.
I'm going to play Kitsune over here into this area for my 2. So I will turn those. This one, when played from hand, each player draws a card.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not too bad. They're forest dwellers. They're giving people. So I've played that out, and that's my turn.
I have no more mana and nothing else I want to do, so I'm just going to pass.
All right. I also have no mana, so I'm going to pass. So like a lot of games, these kind of slowly build up to where you have a lot more mana you're spending to get a lot more cards played. But like I said, this is not a game about getting cards played and letting them sit out there because they're going to be going away, generally speaking. Now we move on to that dusk phase. So dusk is where we're going to be comparing this expedition and this one. This is the companion, this is the hero. And you can do this in either order, it doesn't really matter. All of this is going to do is determine which heroes and which companions move one step further along this track. So
let's do the companions first, since it's
this is the easy one.
Obvious.
Emily doesn't have any companions, so I'm going to definitely win this because I have more in any one of those values than she does. What's interesting, and you'll see this here, both characters can win. So I am going to progress here. So I move here, and when you move, you actually reveal these. They're kind of like a little bit of a fog of war. These 3 cards are going to be shuffled up and laid down however they are, so you don't know what's coming up. But I am here now, and as you can see, in the next round, I'm going to have to necessarily win in water. Like, so the green and the orange won't make a difference for me. I need to win in water, so I'm going to be focused on that. Emily might focus on playing a card that wins water so that I don't.
Sure, but I can still win in any of them. So
Yes.
even if we tie in water and I win in one of the other 2, I will still get to move forward, and then we'll both be competing for
Yeah,
water.
very feel good. Now, that's this side. This side's going to be a little different. What are your values again?
I'm a 3-2-2, so I have 3 in green. It looks like I'll definitely win there. You're gonna win though the Rocky Mountain, and we're gonna be tied for blue.
Yeah, so because we are looking at all of them, if I win in one and she wins in one, we both go forward. So this card's going to flip. And our heroes have progressed, and now they need to compete in green. So next round, it's all going to be about green and blue in order to try to progress forward.
Well, for me, again, it's anything. So I'm a little
that
bit
is
further
true.
behind,
That is
but
true.
I have that
You got
flexibility.
flexibility. That is true.
I do.
I don't mind having one on both, quite frankly.
Yes.
That feels good.
And now that we've done that, we'll do the night phase. So anything that was in our expeditions is going to come down here to our reserve. We can only have 2 cards in our reserve. So if we had more than that, we'd have to discard something to our actual discard. Reserve is great, though, because it's basically a second chance at life where we're going to get to play them again next round.
Yeah, it is one of the more interesting aspects of this game. The reserve is kind of like this limbo area where it effectively represents an extension of your hand, but those cards also cannot be targeted by another player.
Right.
So they're just sitting there, so you can start playing mind games with the other player where you might play a card that the other player did not like,
Yes.
and now it's in your reserve. So they know that you could play
Play
that
again.
again.
Yep.
And there are all sorts of cards, in particular spells, which will do that too. And there can be some nasty spells where I'm just going to let this spell sit here in reserve. So you know that at any time I could fire that off as well. There are some more things about the reserve cards too that you'll see as we play. But the other thing I wanted to point out, this one would come down, except, like I said, it was anchored. So instead, I just removed that anchor. So it lives to fight for the next round, another day, literally. So I am going to count on those stats for sure. Well, not for sure, unless you get rid of it. But
We'll see about that.
this is how you can get some characters sort of into play round to round or multiple rounds. It's not common, but that is the anchored ability.
At the same time, too, so my Baba Yaga was 3 to play out, but now that she's in reserve, she's actually going to cost 2 to put out again. So some of these cards are like, you play it once for a high cost, and then it'll be a smaller cost later on.
Yeah, and those costs are in the upper left-hand corner. You'll see both of those values. But that is the end of the night phase, and now we go back to the beginning.
First day's over.
I am going to be the first player.
I'm going to untap everything, and we're each going to get to draw 2 cards. And we can, if we want, choose 1 card to put in our mana supply, which at this point, probably do want to do.
Yeah, so you'll notice if you play other card games or you've seen some played, a lot of recent card games use this mechanic. I think Lorcana's like this, Star Wars is like this, where you're drawing cards and then putting potentially one of those cards into your mana pool so that you're always able to continue to grow that mana.
That means I won't be able to play that card for its abilities anymore, but still, and now I have my mana.
Ooh. I think I will put this one in there.
All right, you start us off.
I can't say after you. So
You could, but it would mean nothing.
it will mean nothing. So I've got some things to think about. Right now, I've still got this one, which is a 2/1/1. So I'm feeling all right there, except the water is which I need is just a 1. So I'm going to play some Spindle Harvesters here
Okay.
for 1. So again, this gains anchored. It says I gain anchored, so it will become anchored. And it was the first one I played, so it gets the boost as well. So it is a 2/1/1, and I've got a 2/1/1 over there.
Okay. All right, I'm going to... You got a 2/1/1 and a 2/1/1. That's too much, David.
It's very symmetric.
I don't like it. I'm going to spend 2 to bring my Baba Yaga out of reserve and back into play on this side. So she's a 3/2/2. I don't do the draw card because she was just when it played from hand, but because she's coming from reserve, she's also going to get a fleeting token, which means after this, instead of going back to reserve, she's going to go discarded. So she's not a forever. She's just one more time.
That's how most of the cards work. And in fact, there are some cards that you'll play that just say on the card, this is fleeting.
Yeah.
So that will automatically get discarded at the end of the round. But there's a lot of unique, I mean, all these sorts of games always have keywords to the, end of the time. But this one has some interesting ones that I think, and has some gameplay effects that I think are going to be surprising to a lot of people, even if you've played a lot of these kind of games.
Yeah.
Let's see. You're winning this one now?
I'm winning this for green, which is what we care about.
It is what we care about. I'm going to play this one for 3. So that's the rest of that. It has no special effect, and we'll talk about this green effect in a minute. But now I have a total of 5, 3, 3. So I have 5, 3, 3 on this side.
You have 5, 3, 3 on that side. Okay, and you've used up all your mana, so I can...
You are free to do something with your 2 mana.
Yes.
This is where Emily inevitably will cast a spell getting rid of some of my guys. Is that what's going to happen?
We'll see. I'm going to actually play the Lady of the Lake. She costs 2, and she's a 1/1/3. So
oh, that's a good card versus me there.
That is. Yep.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay, I am going to have to pass.
I'm also passing.
All right, now we go on to Dusk Phase again. Let's do this one. It looks like you foiled me on that.
I did.
Plus, you won outright on... Or did you? You won outright on blue.
Yep.
So you're going to get to move forward here.
Yes.
And then over here...
You got the green.
I got the green. And green is all we were both looking for.
You gotta do it once.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was jumping.
Look at him go.
Each card has 2 spaces except for the first one. So yeah, I have to move up here. So next I'm going to be looking for brown and blue specifically.
Which is not awful for me because now we're looking for different things at least instead of trying to really go after the same.
Yeah, the only downside is I haven't played this deck a lot, but there's a lot of heavy green in my deck, generally speaking.
Sure.
So almost all of the cards are going to be rough for you on this spot.
Well, let's go into night so we can clean up. He's going to go into my reserve or into my discard because he was fleeting.
This guy's going to come down here. And whenever cards leave an expedition, they lose any tokens on them. This one's going to lose the anchored and stay there. And now I have 3 here that I have to get rid of. And I want to point this one out here. My Muna Druid has an ability here at the bottom that says... I can discard this from my reserve, and the target character with a hand cost of 3 or less gains anchored. So this is effectively an ability that triggers from the reserve. That's the other cool thing about a lot of the cards is not only can you replay them, but some of them you actually want in your reserve to utilize their reserve ability. So I'm definitely going to leave this one, and I think... I'm probably going to, I'm going to leave this one because I always like having a 1 around.
I like those a lot.
If you have an extra mana that you weren't able to spend.
All you have to do is win by 1. So that's the thing. It's like you don't have to win by 5 or more or something on the side. It's just the 1 could be enough. All right. And that brings us to the top of the next day where we will ready everything up.
You are the
first player. Oh, you grab 2
You didn't even
cards.
use your after you effect that time, did you?
I can only use it when I'm first player.
Oh, that's right.
So that's
right.
I use it every time I can. Don't worry.
Yeah, she does.
All right, I added 1 to my mana. I'm ready to go. You good to go?
Yep, I added 1 to my mana. I've got the 2 little cards in my hand.
All right, so for my first turn, I'm going to actually play out Alice. She costs 3, and she is a 2/2/4 on that side where we both need water.
And that's it? No special effects?
That's it. She has something for when she's in my reserve, but she's not there yet.
And we both need water there, huh?
Yeah, so we're going to get a little 4.
Well, I'm going to play this from reserve, the Spindle Harvesters.
Okay.
Now, this is an interesting situation. It's going to gain fleeting because I'm playing it from my reserve.
Yep.
But it also, when played from anywhere, whether it's a hand or reserve, it gains anchored as well.
Okay.
So the anchored is going to, generally speaking, sort of like disregard the fleeting token or protect the card from the fleeting token.
It's also the first one you played this round, correct?
Oh, it is the first one I played this round. So it's going to get a bonus.
Why did I remind him?
because I need reminding.
All right. For my turn, I'm going to do my after you and say, go ahead, David.
I don't like this.
Hannah.
I don't. Oh, that cost me 1, by the way.
It did. We'll see what you do with those other 4.
If only I had an after you. I am going to play this one right here, which is a big one. It's going to cost 3.
Does look big.
I have 1 mana left. And this one says, when played from hand, target opponent draws a card. So you can draw a card.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
That's your turn, huh? So he's a 5/5/3. Oh, I'm still winning that side. That's nice.
You are for now.
For now. Don't love that. I'm going to do a sleep. This beauty sleep puts 1 character to sleep, which means during dusk, we're going to ignore its statistics. And during rest, it doesn't go to reserve. It just loses its asleep.
Oh, it doesn't go to reserve?
It doesn't go to reserve. It just loses its...
What are you putting to sleep?
What am I putting to sleep?
The spindle harvesters?
No.
No?
Don't think so. I think it's going to be that big one that you just put down.
It doesn't even look sleepy.
It is, though.
You didn't use the sleep card last game we played.
I didn't.
So, won't contribute, but it won't go away.
But it won't go away.
Okay. I don't mind that.
I don't like that.
Because I don't have anything else to play there. So I was going to lose it anyway.
Well, you faked me out.
I did. But it's back to me.
It's back to you.
I'm going to pass.
Great. I am going to...
You've got 1 mana?
I've got 1 mana.
Which
I think I am...
Give me your worst. Please don't.
I think I'm actually, this is going to seem silly, but I'm going to use my 1 mana to put this guy out here on this side. Even though I'm already winning this side, he wouldn't have won me the other. And he has an ability that I can use from reserve when he goes into reserve.
Oh, nice. I like it.
So I'm going to...
I mean, I probably won't like it, but...
I'm going to do that for now.
Okay. Well, I passed. Now it's back to you.
I pass.
All right. So we both passed. We're going to move on to dusk. It looks like I've got this one.
You do have this one.
And you're not moving forward. So I'm going to move forward here to the middle card. We'll find out what that looks like. It looks like that. I need green or blue to move ahead. You've got that one. Are you moving up here?
Yep.
Look at you passing me by. And that's that. So now we move on to the night phase where everyone's going to potentially go away. So this one is definitely going to reserve. The token gets lost. This one is anchored. So it just delays the fleeting, right? So the anchored goes away. The fleeting stays. Now it's going away.
Now
it goes away.
Yeah.
And this one just loses its sleep. And they wake back up to fight another day. Ready to draw 2?
You can take first player, and yes, let's draw 2.
All right. Oh. Man.
I don't like that sound, David.
I'm going to start stacking my mana. I'm going to put this one right here. It's my turn?
Yeah.
I am going to start by playing my Spindle Harvesters from reserve here.
Okay.
For 1 mana, and they gain anchored and fleeting.
Yep.
And because it's my first, they will gain a boost. And if we didn't make this clear, the boosts basically increase the values of all 3 stats by 1.
Yes.
And you can boost and boost and boost. If things allow for it, you can actually stack those.
I'm going to do Alice. She's a 3/3/4. And she cost me 3.
All right. And Alice does nothing?
She does nothing for now.
Oh, she's a 4?
Mm-hmm.
Do not like that one bit.
You just need to win on one of them and you're winning the other one.
I know, but you're trying to win green. I'm going to play Yongsu over here.
Okay.
And Yongsu's ability, first of it's 2, so I will spend the 2 mana, is if you control 2 or more plants, which I do, here's a plant, and here's a plant, and there's a plant actually, I gain 2 boosts. So that is going to get a 2 boost.
That's a lot of boosts on that side, I'm going to be honest with you.
It's a lot of boosts.
It's a lot of boosts.
And that is my turn.
Okay. I'm actually just going to...
Boy, the anchored effect has really helped me.
It's helped you so much. And
Our warm-up game, Emily beat me. I'm feeling, at the moment...
You're feeling very confident?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. I'm going to...
Feels like she's going to send someone to my reserve.
Yeah. Get rid of my Studious Disciple, and he says that I can take the next spell I play, and it costs 1 less.
Oh, here comes a spell, everybody.
So yes, this is a spell that's coming out. And this, I'm going to do the Off You Go. So it usually costs 2. It only costs 1. And it's going to say that...
A target creature of 3 or less, which is any of mine.
Yep. It's going to go to the reserved. So if I did that for either of these, it'll be gone because it has fleeting. If I do it for one of those 2, it'll just go to the reserve. I think I'm actually going to do it on this side. I'm not winning.
I thought you might.
Yeah. I'm going to get rid of this guy just so that he's done with his anchor and everything. Yeah. I'm just sick of them.
Like, they're cute. The spindle harvesters.
I'm sick of them.
Look how adorable they are.
Stop it.
Rodents. Okay, fine. Yeah, so normally that would go to the reserve, but because they were fleeting already, they go to my discard pile. It's me.
It's you.
I am going to do something similar. I'm going to, as a bonus extra action, use my Muna Druid's reserve ability and discard it, and the target character of hand cost 3 or less gains anchored. So I'm going to anchor the big tree.
I hate that.
Plant roots. Plant roots. And then for my turn, I'm going to spend 1, and this is an interesting card.
Oh no.
Costs less to play from your hand than it does the reserve, which is unique. It's called Beauty Sleep. Target character gains a sleep. So I am going to put this character to sleep.
That's the same one that I had.
Oh,
but it's just in different colors. Yep.
Oh, interesting.
And when it came down to my reserve, I have it right here. It's in my reserve of 1/3. So we have the same one, just different colors. And that's possible in these, right? It's where like something can belong to one color, but you can also get in booster packs them to be a different color as well.
Yeah, the deck building, which we haven't done yet, but we looked at the little quick rules on it, is that you build a deck of a color. So the starter decks are all these same colors, but as you get booster packs, you get a lot of colors that are for that faction, but they're also, not all, but some cards from certain factions will also be available in your color so that you can get them into your deck.
Well, I hate that because I
didn't figure you'd like it.
Played this not well, and so now I don't have enough mana, and I'm going to pass.
Oh.
I know.
I, too, am going to pass.
But that's a lot better for you.
Yes, it's pretty good for me. So let's do Dusk here. Do I win in anything?
You win because I don't have any stats.
Oh, you're asleep. That's right. So I'm going to go forward on brown.
I'm going to take away that asleep.
And then here, I definitely win. So I'm going to go forward there. Ooh.
You're getting so close.
This is a different game than our first game.
It's so different.
Okay, so then we go on to night. So this one is fleeting, so this is just going away.
I already took my sleep away, and I only have 2 in my reserve, so I'm okay there.
This one is coming down to the reserve.
Yep.
And this one is anchored, so it's staying put.
There you go.
Ooh, you probably don't like the tree
Any of
stand
this.
there.
I don't like any of
I am-
this.
How many cards do you have in your hand, then?
2.
You have 2. Have you drawn yet?
No.
Oof.
Yeah. So
Are
I
you
will-
first or am I first?
I'm going to be first. Bring it on over
Oh,
here.
Here comes the after you effect.
So I have more flexibility, but I have to make sure you do not meet now.
And this is one of the things we noted after our first game and we were playing. You have this card. I have that beauty sleep down there. Of course, you do too.
Yes.
And it was right. It was 3, so you couldn't play it. Yeah, that
Yes.
is rough.
Yes.
It is interesting to see cards though that have the higher value on the reserve.
Yes.
I gotta get my mana back. Ready?
Let's go.
Let's go.
And by let's go, I mean after you.
You go. I mean, you go. You go.
It's nice to be able to do that not first move. Like, so if I can play something first,
Oh yeah.
but I just need to know what you're going to do here before I make any moves.
It generally feels that way in this game. You kind of want to know, what are you gonna do?
Right. Because like you can win with so little as long as they don't play something there, but all you have to do is play one of your big guys, and then I'm like, okay, well, none of my cards are.
I
quite
would
that
say the potential dangerous situation there is if I have a spell in hand that might maybe get rid of a card from your reserve that you were planning on
Sure.
using or something like that. But typically, you're pretty safe, because you're not going to have a lot of characters out or anything like that. Well, I wasn't prepared to go right at this second. I'm going to play Meditation Training. This one says target character with hand cost 3 or less gains anchored. So I'm going to spend 2 to put an anchor back on my tree. He's just plant those roots as much as they can.
Okay.
And when you play cards like this, it's going to go to the reserve immediately. But I'll have to discard, but they're there for the time being.
Sure. All right, David. What happens when something that has an anchor goes to the reserve?
When you what?
When something that has an anchor goes to the reserve, it just loses the anchor?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like that.
Interesting.
I don't like that.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to play for that then. So I'm playing this Off You Go spell. It's going to cost me 4 because it's down here. But he costs 3 or less, so I'm going to put him to the reserve.
All right. Back to me.
Back to you.
Well, I got no cards in hand, but I've got all this mana and all these cards in reserve.
You do, unfortunately.
I'm going to play, let's see, this is a 5/5. I'm still going to play this here.
Okay. Since it's coming from your reserve, it's going to get a fleeting on it.
It is going to get a fleeting. And it's going to cost me 3.
Okay.
And you get to draw. Oh, no, that's just from hand. If I played it from hand, she'd get a card. So that is my turn.
That is your turn.
I don't know what you're up to, but I'm not sure I like it.
I'm never up to anything.
I was all prepared to win this round.
I'm going to use my second spell, the Beauty Sleep, and put that character to sleep.
For all 3, the rest of your...
For all 3, the rest of my mana. Yep.
Rare.
So, can you put a sleepy
I will
time?
put a sleepy time.
Sleepy time for that big tree. He's been doing a lot of stuff.
But that's interesting. So that would keep him in, wouldn't it?
Yes. So he's going to stay. So he's not going to go to reserve.
But he's not going to help me right now.
But he's not going to help you right now.
What are you up to? Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
All right. I'm going to spend these 2 mana
Uh-huh.
to play this person right here. Yeah, this person right here. And this says, if you control 2 or more plants, which I don't, so that effect is not going to happen, but I've at least now got a 2/2/2 there. So I'm, at least as of right now, I'm feeling okay. I don't know if you have something going on.
I am going to pass.
I am going to pass. So then, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the moment I'm waiting for, and it never comes. But I think I'm about to beat Emily. You won this side. We'll do
I
that
did win
first.
this side.
It's a little anticlimactic, but you move a little forward. Your hero is going, hey, companion, where are you? I, however, win this side, so my companion reaches the spot with my hero.
I'm going to be honest. I thought that was a spell. I forgot that it also had, it was a character. And so I was like, oh, all he has left is spells. There's nothing left for him to put out.
Because there was no border on it, were you thinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because...
And that's just a rarity thing.
You didn't have anything in your hand. I was like, he has got nothing else to put out, so it'll delay me for a turn. But yes, I forgot that it was actually a character that you were going to put out.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I don't play a lot of these games. Of anyone here at the channel, Ryan plays most of these games for sure. We play less. I think you probably play even less than I do, or maybe about the same. The variables in this one, it feels like to me there's just enough more variables to consider, at least for a brain like mine, to go, oh, I missed that. I forgot that. And it is our second game. But those sorts of things, I like the chaos of a game like that. And as you can see, this game played pretty quickly. This is quite a bit more quick than our first game.
But I think it's going to be variable like that. And the thing is that with these reserves too, it allows that kind of flexibility, right? Where like, even when David had literally no cards at the end and he was just going to be top decking from there, like he still had stuff in his reserve that he could play that allowed him to win the game. Whereas I had more in my hand. But I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Some of these were some pretty high cost cards, but I was just hoping we'd get to there. Well, she's my borderless Dorothy Gale.
And oh no, that's not the one I thought.
She's really cool. She says whenever she's played from either my hand or from here, she's going to send the target character to the reserve, but she's a 5 cost. And so I was like, I wanted to play her next round when I had a little more mana so I could do 2 things at once. Most of this deck is around having smaller people, but then they can be played again from reserve. Whereas yours are just like really heavy hitters and not as many spells.
Yeah, the green deck seems to be, at least the starter deck, pretty heavy hitters. Obviously, you saw a lot of anchored abilities where I can keep them out there. So, if you're on the receiving end of like some big tree character and someone else, and you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to win that. And then I anchor them both. And you're like, well, I'm not going to win it next round either.
I know.
But there's some things you can do. Like I said, we played these same decks. She was that deck. I was this one. And she won pretty handily.
Yes.
I mean,
we were
along these same lines. I was closer, but you passed each other.
I passed each other, yes.
On the last turn. It was really interesting. We haven't had a tie yet, but there are actually tiebreaker rules where it's just kind of a arena type combat round after round until someone wins across both. But that was altered. That was our first game on the channel. We're probably going to play this more. Ryan went in big. He backed quite a bit. I backed a little bit. You seeing what I backed right here. We have some starter decks. We got a little bit more that we'll be able to show.
So these are 2 of the starter decks.
These are 2 of the starter decks.
There's 6?
There's 6 total.
Okay.
So there's 4 more, and then we got a whole slew of boosters.
There's a whole bunch of stuff, too, we haven't even seen yet, right? Like, there are parts on this board for the landmarks. We don't have any landmarks in our starter decks.
Yep, these 2 factions at least don't have landmarks, although we've opened some boosters, and we've seen some landmarks, and I got to tell you...
They look good.
They look good. I'm not sure yet how you'd get rid of a landmark, but the landmarks look really good. They just start creating a lot of tokens, and the tokens, they're not tokens. There are cards in the game that effectively trigger the creation of other cards. So a lot of the boosters and some of the starters come with a lot of those tokens. So they're like characters or little robots and things like that. And you might have a landmark that says once around, it's going to create some sort of little brass bug bot. And you just litter your expedition area with a lot of these things so that your opponent has a lot of things to deal with. And they're small values, but they add up.
So, David, I know you talked about this a lot when we saw a preview of it at Gen Con. Now that we've had a couple plays, what are your thoughts now that we actually have the game?
Well, I'll say this, and I'll be very candid with you. I'm biased. I love the designer of this, and it's a whole design team, but it's led by the same person who designed Seasons, which is one of my favorite games.
You do like that game.
I'm a fan of Seasons. It's not hanging on the wall for no reason. But we got a chance to see it last year at Gen Con, and there are Seasons types of vibes, not in gameplay, but sort of the natural, magical aspect. The artwork is very similar. I also like the fact that this isn't I'm going to kill your people or kill you or take your hit points down to 0 sort of game. I mean, it's effectively a different sort of way of doing it, but I like thematically that we're just trying to get these 2 tokens to reach one another, and it brings in some mind games when you're playing out here in either of the expeditions. in my opinion, even more so than, say, a Star Wars Unlimited, where this is ground units, this is air units. You have freedom to play wherever you want.
There's a lot of flexibility.
And when I play here and I'm first to go, Emily goes, oh, what is he going to do? Like,
yes.
every play makes you think, okay, is he trying to win this? And I might be fainting, right? I might play a card here thinking I'm going to try to message that this is what I want to win, but really I'm going to go heavy here with my next two cards or something like that.
And we talked about too, like the cards in your reserve could also be a thing where you're also signaling to someone like, I have a card in my reserve that has a lot of water. That's probably where I'm going to play it, on this side where I'm trying to win water, but then I don't. And I just keep holding on to it. Well, I really loved the artwork. I loved this about the game. I really liked the reserve system. And it felt really fast. So like I said, like when we played our first game, I was like, this is great. We just have to show them what it looks like. And now that we played a second game, I'm like, this is great. We should just play another one. We can open another starter pack.
Yeah, I have to say, again, trying to put my bias aside, but of all the games like this that I've played, it's the one that I want to try to invest time in more than any other that I've played, because I think it does feel like more of a tactical game. I'm a very tactical gamer. I don't like the long term. I like the short term. Now, there is some long-term in this, but not like there is in other games. There is deck construction, but I don't think this game relies on a robust, intense deck construction like other games do. You can do it, but it kind of streamlines that. For instance, if I build a deck, it has to be a color. Like it has to be green or it has to be purple. So you're not taking the wide variety of all the cards that are out there in the universe and building whatever you want. There's some limitations like that. And of course, some other limitations. You can only have 3 of any named card. You can only have so many unique cards. And we haven't even talked about that. But this game has some really wild things going on with how it's even being published and how it's being traded. Because when I say unique cards, it's unique.
Yes.
Like it's all one of a kind. All these cards, as you can see, have these little QR codes on them. Don't worry, I've scanned all of these. They're in my collection. So if you've been looking at the top-down camera trying to scan these cards, sorry. But it's a really cool function where you can like put cards into your digital collection, and then there are cards you can get that are foiler cards. You scan those in.
There's lots more. There's lots more going on here, but let's just say too that I enjoyed this game because it has a low barrier to entry, right?
Yes.
Where you literally also could just like be like, trading card games, they're great. They have a lot going on. There's so much. It's too much for me. I'm just going to take a starter deck and get to play a game really fast. So whether you want to go heavy into this, get the super fun foils, get the unique cards that's one in the world, or hear about all the other details, you could do that. Or you could just play a starter deck and you could still have a fun experience.
Did you like how Emily politely cut me off from gushing about it for the next hour?
You could go on for hours.
I would go on for hours, and we'll do more content. We'll dig into more of that. We'll put up videos of showing us scanning in the cards so you can see how that works, because it is really, really cool and very, very slick. But if you have any more questions about how we played this, if you have any corrections for how we played this, where you're like, what are you talking about? No, you don't get rid of, you have to get rid of the anchor, and you don't just put it to reserve. Please let us know.
Or if you have requests for which ones we should play next, let us know that too.
Which factions?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to get away from the purple faction?
I am. I want to see all of them. I want to see what they all do.
Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, make them below. We'll get down there and talk to you about whatever you want. Until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.